Hey everybody, this is Josh Paul, host of the Small Marketing Teams podcast. I'm really glad that you're checking out the show today. If you're trying to grow your business and you're not a household name or a well-funded startup, you need to do things differently, and that's what we get into on this podcast. If that's you, go ahead and click subscribe on the screen right now so that you'll get notified when we put out new tips, new tutorials, and new advice for small marketing and sales teams. Taking somebody from not aware of you to buying something from you and then scaling that process to get people to buy from you consistently is a daunting task. Small Marketing Teams, Episode 2.
You're listening to the Small Marketing Team Show with Josh Paul, the podcast where you'll learn how to achieve big growth without a big budget.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. What is up? Thank you for tuning in today to session number 2 of the Small Marketing Teams podcast. Let's talk about big picture for a second. If you are a marketer or a salesperson or a business owner, this is the podcast where you will learn how to do more and get bigger results with less. Each week, I will guide you through how you can grow your company without the big budgets that we associate with marketing today. Whether you are the only marketer in your company, and you're also the salesperson and the CEO and the person who does payroll, or you have a marketing team big enough to fill an Olympic relay team, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Josh Paul. Let's get started. In the next couple of episodes, you're going to hear the story of how I ended up in this position, where I've tripled the customers in my small company and can share with you exactly how I did it. Today, I'd like to talk a little about how excited I am to be on this journey with you. Let's start by laying out who's going to get the most out of this podcast so that your time is not wasted if these sessions are not going to be a good fit for you. I wake up each morning and go, who can I help today? Who can I share my experience with and what I went through in order to help them save time, save money, and avoid crippling failures, and most importantly, make money and grow your business? First of all, I want you to understand and admit to yourself that marketing a company or a product or service with a team of 1, 2, or 5 people is much different than growing a big company. Different processes, different tools, different focus, and you'll spend your time on different things. In fact, when you have a small marketing team, you can't afford to spend any time on the wrong things. And that's what this podcast is all about. So if you have a huge marketing budget and a sizable marketing team, you'll get value from this show. But you'll find that I'm not speaking to you directly, and your experiences and your challenges. My experience and the lessons that I'm going to share stem from getting big results with limited resources and doing more with less by doing it smarter. Next, when it comes down to it, this show is for you if you want to grow your business but don't know how. You may be a very good lawyer, you may be very good at starting and standing up a restaurant, or very good at creating software, and you've grown to this point, but you may be thinking, I'd like to grow even more or grow faster, but I just don't know how to do it. You know that marketing has changed a lot in the last 5 years, even more in the last 2 years. Wearing multiple hats and finding the time to learn what works in marketing today and then putting those systems in place is too much for a lot of small marketing teams and small companies to handle. So if you want to grow your business, but you just don't have the path laid out in front of you, or the path is there, but there are multiple paths, and every time you read a marketing article or you subscribe to a marketing blog, you get more confused and less confident about the direction you should be heading, then this podcast will be a really good fit for you, because that's exactly what we're going to do. If you want to grow your business but don't know how, I'm going to make that path clear for you. Next, you have to be ready to grow. If you are in the middle of a partner buyout, or if your product is not quite where you want it to be before you go to market, then you might not be ready for this podcast. When you have something that has been validated in the market and you know that people want what you offer, but you're just not getting found, not generating leads, then you're in the right place. But if you're going through something internally in your company and you can't devote the time and focus needed to learn how to grow with a small marketing team, then there are a lot of other great podcasts out there that you may find more beneficial at this time than this one. Come back when you're ready to learn how to grow. Each month, I talk to a lot of small marketing teams that are responsible for growing their companies, and the company has grown to this point via word of mouth. It's a classic default approach to how small companies and small marketing teams have grown their business. Through word of mouth, you acquire some customers up front through a lot of hard work, you validate your product with them, and they refer you to somebody else. How many of you listening today have been in that situation? We get a call out of the blue that says, "Hey, Doug down at ABC Company referred me to you." Or, "I'm looking for the product that you sell and a friend referred me to you." Or, "I was at a networking group and someone said that I should look at XYZ Company and I thought I'd give you guys a call." Social proof, referrals, and testimonials, and leveraging your community to grow is definitely an important part of growing your business. But if that is solely what you're relying on, those bluebird calls, if that's what you're relying on and counting on to grow your business, to scale your business, to increase revenue, then you're essentially relying on luck, waiting for that call to come out of the blue that said so-and-so referred them to you. That is luck. Growing through word of mouth puts too many things out of your control, and you're really not able to scale. You're not able to predict what is going to happen, the number of deals you can close this month and next month and the month after that. So that's not something that is at the center of the systems that I'm going to share with you. If that's what you're looking for, how to scale your word of mouth operation, you're not really in the right place. But if you've grown your business to this point through word of mouth referrals, a little bit of luck, and you want to take it to the next level where you can build a system that generates leads and awareness and opportunities for you automatically, reliably each month, then you are exactly, definitely, for sure in the right place, because that is specifically what I'm going to talk about on this podcast. You'll notice that I didn't say anything about a certain level of resources or team size or tool set being needed to get a wealth of information from this podcast. The systems, tools, and tactics that I'm going to discuss on the Small Marketing Teams podcast don't require massive resources, big teams, and can apply to people who have advanced marketing automation platforms in place, as well as those companies that don't have anything in place except maybe a website, which they haven't updated in 5 years. You'll be able to take away tips that you can put into action immediately to grow your business. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a few seconds here to thank you for listening to the Small Marketing Teams podcast. It is your business's potential and the questions that you ask and the challenges that you're facing that fuel me and make this a great show. Please take a minute right now or at the end of this session to go over to iTunes and leave this show a rating and a review. By helping out in this way, you're playing a very important role in growing the Small Marketing Teams community. You can go straight to the place where you can leave a review by visiting smallmarketingteams.com/iTunes. Thanks so much for your support. Okay, so today's question comes from Jim in North Carolina. He owns a small business in North Carolina. And Jim says that he, over the past 2 years, has acquired about 900 people, a little over 900 people, he says, on his list. And he emails his list and nothing. So he went into the analytics and he saw that nobody is opening his emails. So he asks, how can I get more people to open the emails that I'm sending them? So he's done the work, he's gotten the list. How do I get people to open the emails that I am sending to them? So Jim, what we're going to talk about today is 3 factors that get people to open your emails. And I'm going to talk about them in reverse order of their importance. I'm going to talk about 3 things, and the last one is going to be the most important. So the first factor that gets people to open your emails, close your eyes, think about your inbox, or open your inbox right now. You don't even need to close your eyes. And the first factor is the preview screen. Check it out on your phone. The preview screen is right below the subject line, and that tells you usually the first few words or the first sentence that is in the email. So if you scroll through your inbox, you're going to see all sorts of things in the preview screen. Check out the preview screen on a personal letter. It's usually dear. To me, it's Josh, comma, and then the first sentence, or a response. I made a recommendation to somebody, a colleague. They asked for some advice, and their response was, "That sounds good." And that's all it shows showed up in the preview screen and then the beginning of their email signature. Preview screens that show a little bit of the response say, hey, this person who just sent me an email is a real person. That's what they're used to. That's what we're used to when we have person-to-person, individual-to-individual, human-to-human email interactions. The previews that don't get opens, what you want to avoid is something that looks like a marketing or sales email. Here's some examples. I got one today, and the preview screen was an HTML tag with an image in it, and that's all the preview screen was. What does that tell you? Instant marketing email. This one was, I think the subject line said, I'm reaching out to you for the last time, Joshua. And so this was part of an ongoing automated email prospecting campaign that was supposed to look like it came from an individual, but the preview screen was this big HTML code image right there, right front and center. And that told me I'm not even going to open that email. I thought it was so funny. I posted it to LinkedIn. So when there's code in there that says marketing email or sales email or automated email, something that's going to waste my time. Other things that tell you that it is a time-wasting email, you want to make sure that the preview line, the preview element of your email doesn't have to view this in a browser, click here. Or if you can't see this email, open it in a browser and it has the link. That tells you it's an HTML email, a designed email, a marketing email, and something that you probably don't need to open, at least don't need to open right now. It's not a person waiting for a response. For the preview element, the first of the three, you want to test your email, but make sure that when you're sending test emails in your marketing automation software and your email software, that you actually get the true preview that an end user is going to see. If you don't, set up a campaign list, set up a list with your business email and your Gmail email in it, and with two people or one of your colleagues, add a couple more internal people to it, add your mom, add your wife, and do a test run of that email to that group just to make sure you're seeing it as the end user does. You could have everything set perfectly and the preview will give you away and kill your results. The second element I want to talk to you about is the one that everybody spends the most time on. And for me, it's the second most important. It's not the most important. This is subject lines. Over the past 6 years, I think I've tried every approach to subject lines. And so here's what works for me. You'll see endless articles on try this and use their first name. First of all, don't use their first name in the subject line because it is awkward and it's not something that a friend or colleague would put in the subject line. Like my wife wouldn't send me an email that says, do you want to go to the movies Friday, Josh? Like that, you just don't put names in subject lines. No human does that. Just because you're showing off that you know somebody's name, don't put it in the subject line. That's not going to get you opens. And so what works for me, funny enough, is shorter emails, or shorter subject lines rather, get more opens. And you don't want to give away the whole farm in the subject line. I've tried everything from, 5 tips to improve community management. I've tried really big, hard value in the subject line, and where you put in the entire how to get a bigger ROI from your customer engagement strategy. Tried that. It gets okay results. It's long, but also people know exactly what they're going to get if they open that email. I've also tried putting the format in the email. So webinar or new webinar, 5 tips for keeping customers engaged over the summer. You're giving away too much to the people. They'll know exactly what they get. They know, okay, this is a webinar invitation and that's what the webinar is about. What I've seen most successful is short ones. So I'll say upcoming webinar. I'll say upcoming webinar. I want to find out what this, they'll still take that next step. I want to find out what this is about. It may not be a fit for me. It may be a fit for me, but it's worth the click. Oftentimes for a webinar, I'll do 2 or 3 emails. I'll do a longer one at the beginning that gives them the full value. And then I'll do a couple with short subject lines. I'll do next week's webinar or don't miss next week's webinar. And then, the week of the webinar, I'll say Thursday's webinar. It's funny. The short ones, they don't give the whole story away. Thursday's webinar gets 5 times the opens as what to expect from your community manager in 2016. Or it doesn't matter how strong the value is. It's not that what to expect from your community manager is a weak title. It is on the weaker side. It could be, the 8 words that are going to save your job this week. It could be something very, very critical, but that's not going to get you the same amount of opens. Sometimes they'll even do 1 word, feedback or webinar or ebook. And that gets so many more opens because it plays to people's curiosity than giving away exactly what they're going to get in the subject line. Really, really important. So that brings us to our third element and the most important element. I think people focus on subject lines. There's a law in marketing, and I don't know if anyone else talks about this, that people will flock to the tactic that is the easiest. And so subject lines are talked about so much because they're so easy to change. They're so easy to test. If I use the perfect combination of 3 or 4 or 5 words, I'm going to get 10%, 15%, 20% higher open rate in my emails. And that's just not true. You have to do it right, but subject line is not a magic bullet. What I'm talking about and what I'm telling you is the most important factor in getting your email open is the sender. The first thing people look at is, who is this email from? What is the email address? What is the display name that it is coming to me from? Do I know this person? Have they provided me value in the past? So they're looking for, 1, do I know this person? What have they sent me previously? Have I read blog posts by them? Do I know their name? Or what did you say in your last couple videos? All of those things, all of the content that you've created, it comes down to the relationship you have with the sender. I was asked to visit a local business the other day, and it seems to be doing very well, but I was talking to one of the co-founders, and he said, so for many, many years, it was just the two of you and your co-founder starting out this business, and you've grown it to 17 people. That's great. He says, well, yeah, it was me and Jeff and Kristen. Oh, who's Kristen? Oh, that's the fake name we use to send emails out under. I said, what? Like, people still do that. And that's why that is a really bad idea. Email is one of the number one ways to build relationships with people. It's the number one way to build relationships with people once the relationship has started. And to squander that opportunity with a fake person, someone who they're not going to see on video and not going to see at conferences and not going to be able to have questions answered by it, is just an absolutely asinine thing to do, because sender and the relationship with that sender is the most important factor in getting people to open your emails. And the reason it's not talked about that much is because it takes work. It takes producing that content and providing that value on your website, over email, on social networks for an extended period of time for them to say, oh, I can't wait to open that email. I know this person. They provided me a great checklist last time. I'm going to open that email. I cannot wait for the next one. There are emails that I get, and because the person has provided so much value and built a relationship with me, I know they're marketing emails, but emails that I get that I save until and I'll put them aside until I have time to open them and read them and click through on them, because I know it's going to be filled with such value. So all 3 of those factors, the preview pane, the subject line, and most importantly, the sender, are critical. You have to get them all right, because you get one wrong and the work on the other 2 that you've put in, it goes away. You get 0 results. So you leave one of those out at your own peril. All 3 are critical. Take the advice that I gave you today, run your tests, track the results, and you'll find the formula that works for you. And if you get this wrong, as I said, your business will suffer. But if you get this right, you'll stand out, because so many people are doing this wrong. You'll see more opens, you'll see more people convert on your email, and you'll create more customer advocates. You'll also get people replying to your email. I love when I get a marketing email from do-not-reply@xyzcompany.com. Replying to an email is amazing. Get people to start this conversation with you, to ask questions about your business or your advice or your product. So you want people to reply to your email. And all of this will happen if you get the preview right, the subject right, and the sender right. Jim, good luck. So today, as promised, we're going to talk about the number one tool that I have used to grow my business. When you're part of a small marketing team, you are personally responsible for growing your business, for bringing in more customers. If that's not how you look at it, if that's not how your job is understood in your company, then I'm telling you right now, you are in trouble. You are one curious executive asking questions, looking at charts, one curious executive from being on the chopping block, especially when we live in a time when over 50% of the decision-making process is done before your prospective customers even contact your company or walk into your store or request a demonstration. They research online, they read reviews, they ask friends and colleagues, and they are very far down the selection and decision-making process before they contact you. It is marketing that is the growth engine in your company. Now, many people don't see it that way, but we're a few years away from that being the ubiquitous expectation, because that's going to be the primary way that companies grow. The problem is that your buyer's buying process is complicated. There are an array of people and factors involved in something as simple as a jewelry purchase to companies selling multi-million-dollar security software. There are multiple decision makers involved and people who need to sign off. People want to make sure that the solution that they're purchasing is going to give them results and give them results in a timely fashion and for the duration that they're expecting. They want to make sure they're working with a trustworthy company and what marketing materials and sales materials are actually what they're going to get. They want to make sure they understand all the risks involved and how they'll be supported and what your guarantee is and what the setup process is to actually get those results. They want to make sure that your reputation in the market matches what they're hearing from your company representatives. They need to make sure that the timing of a purchase is correct. You may be the perfect fit for them, but they may not be ready for this inside their organization, or the people purchasing your product may have something else going on that causes them to delay their purchase. They're also concerned about their personal brand and personal relationships and making sure this purchase does not hurt those relationships or hurt their career. And lastly, they want to know if the price is going to work. Now, here's how everyone else looks at it. If you're not in marketing, here's how everyone else looks at it. You have non-customers and you have customers. This is very problematic for marketers. It's something that you will always battle. I still battle it today. People say, well, you have this big pool of people who don't know about us, and we only have this many people who turn into customers each month. It is much more complicated than that, and smart marketers know it. So taking somebody from not aware of you to buying something from you and then scaling that process to get people to buy from you consistently is a daunting task. So I'm going to give you the tool that I use to drive sales. I use this to plan, to optimize my marketing strategy and tactics, to evaluate the performance, to prioritize where I spend my time and money, and to report on results to other people in my company. It is not a tech tool. Anyone can use it, and it doesn't cost a thing, but it is the most valuable tool in your marketing strategy, and I'm going to walk you through it right now. As a smart marketer, you know that there's more to it than non-customers and customers. There are multiple steps or milestones that you'll use to bucket your prospective customers as they learn about their needs and those factors that I listed a couple minutes ago, and as they discover how you can help them. Sometimes in a consumer business, there's only a few steps, but if you sell to businesses or sell high-ticket items to consumers, you'll probably use all of these steps. And it's important to note that you really need to define this for yourself and for your business. I'll tell you exactly how we do it in my business right now. So the first of these 6 stages of the sales and marketing funnel is subscribers. These are people who have opted into your list and nothing else. People who are on your newsletter, who have opted in to download something on your website in exchange for their email address. People who have asked to be notified when your next podcast comes out. Those are your subscribers. That is the biggest group of people. Usually all you have is a name and email address on them. Next, you have your leads. You want to turn subscribers into leads. A lot of times you take people who are the first time visiting your website, you turn them into leads because they've converted on an offer. It means they've downloaded something, but they've given you more information, usually name, email address, company, phone number, and a couple qualifying factors. We use company size, we use organization type. Those are the primary two on our landing pages. So then next you want to turn those leads into marketing qualified leads, or MQLs. And for us, that means they meet our target customer profile. And so the lead comes in, marketing evaluates it and says, all right, did they download the right thing? Are they the right size? Are they the right organization type? And all of that coupled together says, yeah, this person is worthy, or this person should be assigned to sales to follow up. Then once it's assigned to sales, and sales picks it up and says, yeah, I'm going to work this lead. They start contacting them. And once they connect with them, because there is a percentage of marketing qualified leads that sales is unable to connect with. But once sales connects with them, does a little bit of qualification. You really often can't do all the qualification you need to, at least in my company, because we're talking enterprise level software or mid-sized enterprise level software, multiple tens of thousands of dollars. You can't do all of the qualification with the initial contact on the phone in one phone call. But if sales deems them worthy to continue to qualify, then they are marked in our system as a sales qualified lead. Sales says, yeah, this is a qualified lead. I'm going to continue to work this lead. And then this is probably the longest stage in the funnel because you're understanding who's involved in the decision process, what their specific needs are, more about what you can do to help them, if you're a good fit, and other factors that impact their buying process. So we're just gathering a lot of information, making sure that this is a priority for them, the pain is real, and that we are the right solution. So once we understand that this organization is going to make a purchase, like I said, whether you're a software company or a jewelry store, once you understand somebody is going to make a purchase, they are an opportunity. They're going to buy something from somebody. This is a real opportunity. They're going to have the money to do this, and they're going to make a purchase from somebody. A lot of organizations say, all right, we have prospects and we have opportunities and we have customers. That is much better than going, okay, we have non-customers and customers, but that's still not granular enough, because for us to become an opportunity, the bar has to be pretty high. They are in a buying mode and they do have the authority to make a purchase, and the price isn't out of the realm. Within the opportunity stage, we have some sub stages because it moves into an opportunity dashboard in our CRM system. So an opportunity is they're going to make a purchase from somebody. The next stage within the opportunity is they're going to make a purchase from somebody and we are on the short list. Hooray for us. And then it goes into contract negotiation and then we close them. So after opportunity on our marketing funnel, what do we have so far? Subscribers, leads, MQLs, SQLs, opportunities, and then the next stage is a closed deal. It's a customer. And what these stages allow you to do is produce different content and different messages and use a different tone at each stage of the funnel, so that you're not trying to close somebody who's just a lead or just a subscriber or just a marketing qualified lead. You're trying to move them to that next stage. You'll also have different next steps, different calls to action, depending on where somebody is in the funnel. You're not trying to close somebody who's at the top of the funnel. You can test the waters. You can try to accelerate them through the funnel. Often you won't be able to, but in your messages, you can try to get them further down the funnel, but chances are you're just going to go from an MQL to an SQL, a marketing qualified lead, to a sales qualified lead. A sales qualified lead, you want to turn them into an opportunity. If you try to go too fast and go sales qualified lead to a customer, chances are your close rate is not going to be as good as if you do move them through the stages and ask the right questions and put the right next steps in front of them. So once you've established these stages of your funnel, you're going to be able to use different content and different messages and use a different tone depending on where somebody is in your sales and marketing funnel. You're going to talk to somebody differently who's a subscriber and a lead and a marketing qualified lead than you are going to do to somebody who is an opportunity. You're also going to ask different questions of those people. You're going to need different information. Somebody who's a lead, who's newly in your funnel, you might not necessarily ask them, and I probably wouldn't ask them, do you have budget? Do you have authority? Do you have timeline? All of those closing sales questions, or what would it take to close this deal by the end of the month? That's not, you really just want to move them to the next step in the stage. This framework allows you to put different next steps in front of them. You want to move a lead to a marketing qualified lead. You want to move a marketing qualified lead to a sales qualified lead to an opportunity, then to a customer. And then you're also going to have different probabilities of closing depending on where the lead is or where the prospect is in your marketing and sales funnel. So it allows you to report more accurately. You don't just have a bucket of 200 leads and you say, you know what, I have 200 leads that will probably close by the end of the quarter. That's not how it works. So each lead moves through the funnel at a different pace. By having multiple steps in your funnel, multiple stages, you'll be able to say, all right, I have 6 leads that are in the opportunity stage. Those are the ones that I'm probably going to be able to close by the end of the month. And so your forecasting becomes a lot more accurate. I recently worked with a company where the sales manager would get so excited after his first call with somebody. And this company sold, $50,000 software, but they first call, first demo, they loved it. Whoever was on the call at that time, great feedback, very positive. And then, these deals are so far down the pipeline. We're going to have the best month ever. And nothing would close by the end of the month. One deal might close by the end of that month or by the end of the next month. It's because he just looked at it as marketing qualified leads and customers. He wouldn't segment his sales funnel by where they were. He wouldn't acknowledge that there are stages to his sales funnel. So he was taking people from leads and marketing qualified leads and saying, I'm going to turn them into customers by the end of the month. and which is fine, but you need to recognize that you're not going to be able to do that in one action and one activity, and you need to move people down the funnel rather than always be closing. In fact, every month I measure every ratio in that funnel. That's really important. So it's not just the number of people at each stage, but you want to understand what the ratio of people converting from subscribers to leads, or leads to marketing qualified leads, or marketing qualifieds to sales qualified. That way, what you can tell by doing that is where you have problems in your funnel. You're able to troubleshoot your marketing and sales process rather than just saying, we have all these people who aren't customers and we're going to turn them into customers, but it's not happening. Why isn't it happening? Marketing, you're terrible. Sales, you're terrible. You can say, actually, the top of our funnel is strong, or we're really good once they become opportunities, but the middle of our funnel is weak, and that's where we're going to put our time. You can't plug the leaks in your marketing and sales funnel if you don't know about them. So we were really good at getting found and converting leads in our company, and we realized that we had some problems at the middle of the funnel, and that was leading into problems further down the funnel. So I actually plateaued new leads for a few years. We generate somewhere between 200 and 300 leads a month, and I could move that to 400, 500, 600 leads a month, but I consciously decided not to because we had limited resources and we needed to fix the middle of the funnel. We needed to create middle of the funnel offers. We needed to coach the sales team on inbound sales and the type of leads that they're going to be getting and how to pull those through the funnel. So creating these stages and using them in your daily marketing tools and sales tools and planning meetings will tell you exactly where to spend your time and money. So understanding where people are in your sales funnel and how quickly they move and at what rate they move from one stage to the next towards becoming a customer will tell you exactly where to spend your time and money. If you have a really good product and a really good sales process, and once people find you, then they close pretty easily, then you need to spend money at the top of the funnel if that's where you're weakest, turning subscribers into leads or generating subscribers in general. But if you are filling the top of the funnel, bringing in leads, and this is a very common scenario, and those leads are not turning into customers, or your sales team is saying, these leads are not qualified, even if they're trained in inbound sales, if they're not able to bring them to become customers, then you have an issue in the middle or the bottom of your funnel, and that's where you need to spend your time. So one more time, you have subscribers, you have leads, you have marketing qualified leads, subscribers, people on your list, leads, people who have downloaded an offer, given you some information in exchange for an offer, marketing qualified leads for us, that they fit one of our target personas, sales qualified leads, sales has deemed them, they sniff an opportunity, they've deemed them worthy to continue to qualify. Once they've finished qualifying them and they've determined somebody is serious and they are going to make a purchase, we categorize them as opportunities, and then opportunities turn into customers. Now, your action item for the next week is to go through your database or your CRM or your lead list and categorize everyone in it into one of these categories: subscribers, leads, MQLs, SQLs, opportunities, or customers. Ultimately, you want them all to buy from you, but that can't be the next step for every single one of your leads at this time. Using this framework, you'll know where each lead stands, what the next stage is, and it'll help you develop the tactics and the content and the messages to move them lower in the funnel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is so much more that I want to share about today's topic, and I will as this podcast continues. But to help you put some of today's advice into action, I have a free gift for you. On the show notes page for today's episode, you can get a free funnel worksheet to help you define, plan, and validate your business's funnels, from subscriber all the way down through leads and MQLs and SQLs and opportunities all the way to customers. You can find this free gift at smallmarketingteams.com/2 for episode 2. So that's smallmarketingteams.com/2. Be sure to leave a rating and review in iTunes, and then subscribe to the Small Marketing Teams podcast so that you don't miss next week's episode. I'm going to share with you the good, bad, and ugly of how to get found, the most important step in starting to grow your business. You can't get more sales if more people aren't finding you. In the meantime, visit smallmarketingteams.com to sign up to get notified when a new podcast episode is released, along with free bonus tips for small marketing teams just like you. Thanks for listening.